Just so you know, at any point, you're always welcome to these recordings. You can take the class over and over and over again if you'd like. So just let me know and I'll happily forward that along if that's something that's of interest to you. Perfect. Terry, I think you might be frozen on me, my dear. There we go. Beautiful. So cameras on, cameras off, mics muted, please, and we'll go ahead and get started just in a moment. I'm still playing with what the lighting needs to be like here in the studio, and I'm not complaining whatsoever, but it's just, I say this over and over again, but how lovely it is to be out here at this time in the evening and have more daylight. So whatever space it is that you've created for yourself there at home, finding a place where you can begin to relax into your yoga mat, preferably undisturbed if that's available. So allowing your body here to become long, legs slightly wider than hip distance apart, toes tracking outwards, knees tracking outwards, opening through the front of the hips. Allowing awareness to travel up the low spine, into the shoulder blades, and out through the back of your arms, lengthening the fingers once awareness reaches there. And allowing your head to fall heavy, resting on a mat or perhaps a little pillow. And maybe your eyes close. And just taking a moment to tune in here and noticing if your body needs any adjustments. Aiming to draw our bodies into a space where we can completely begin to surrender down. And with your awareness shifted inwards, your body fully supported, for the next moment or so, just notice the breath. Wherever it is that you feel the sensation, the rise and the fall, where does that sit with you this evening? And then wherever it is in your body that you feel that sensation of breath, can you breathe even deeper into that space? Noticing the areas around it, above it, below it, beside it, all the way around. And then the next inhale that you take, bring the most awareness you possibly can take into that space. And then as you exhale, can you release that space, but equally all the spaces around it? And maybe playing with that for a few cycles of your breath. So every inhalation, you breathe deeply into that point of sensation of breath. And then every exhale, you begin to surrender, relax, release all the areas around there. So if you're feeling breath this evening into the belly, deep awareness on that inhalation. And as you exhale, releasing through the low back, releasing through the side body, releasing through the front body, upper chest. And now releasing any control or effort or awareness of that breath. And moving into the Dirga breath. So your next inhalation begins to find that expansion through your low belly space. And as you exhale, begin to draw the navel in towards the spine and zip up through the low belly. And taking a few cycles here, just playing with awareness through that low belly space. Inhale finds that fullness in through the front of the hips, just above slightly rather. And then exhaling, beginning to guide your low spine towards your mat. One more inhalation, focusing on lower half of your Dirga breath, the bottom 1/3. And then the next time an inhale arrives, begin to build that breath up. Noticing that space now just above your belly button, yet just below the rib cage. Can you breathe into the side body? Think of the side of your body expanding towards the long edge of your mat. And then as you exhale, surrendering through your mid-spine, releasing effort through the low belly space, and zipping up through the low belly. And just playing with that awareness for the next few breaths of low belly, inhalation all the way up to the mid belly, and stopping there with awareness. Use your next inhale to build into the full breath. Low belly begins to fill. Side body finds that expansion, breathing all the way up to the top of the chest. As you exhale, can you sink into the shoulders? Draw the lower ribs towards your hip bone and guide the navel in towards your spine. Inhaling, taking the most full breath you've taken all day. Find that full expansion, that complete inhalation through the entire body. And then exhale, slowly release, allowing your body to become even more heavy, supported by the mat beneath you. And cycling through another few rounds of your Dirga breath, 3-part breath. Breath moving in and out of your nose, aiming to have the length of the inhalation match the length of your exhalation. So nice, even quality to your breath. Noticing what begins to arise in your body, in your breath, but equally in your mind as we find stillness. Can we allow this breath to anchor us into the moment, into your space? Parking competing thoughts off to the side. Can you find a little bit more softness through your jaw? Relax the space between your brows. Think of your eyelids falling even heavier. As you exhale next, without finding any movement, can you simply become aware of the space that your body is taking? The tips of all of your fingers, the tops of all of your toes, and then take that next inhale to take awareness to the pinky toe space on both your left and right foot equally. Beginning to wiggle out the toes very slowly, moving inwards until you reach the great toe space, left and right. Then from there, just allowing any movement that comes to arrive into your lower body. The ankles, the feet, noticing engagement of the calves, backs of your knees, the kneecaps, hamstrings and thighs. Can you begin to rock your feet side to side? Noticing the movement of the upper leg in through the hips. And then as your next inhale arrives, can you draw your toes up towards your shins Energy pressing out through your heels. And then exhale, release that effort. Allow the feet one at a time to come to meet your mat. Hip distance apart. If it feels better in your low back to take a wider stance and allow the knees to come to touch, that's an option. Otherwise, we'll keep the knees stacked above the hips. And with our lower body supported here, let's take awareness once again to the tips of our fingers. Feeling your pinky fingers, working your way in, wiggling all the way out until you reach the thumb space. From there, beginning to lengthen the fingers, maybe curl the fingers in, form a fist, wrap the thumbs around, roll out the wrist either way. Bend through your elbows, heaviness through the backs of your arms still and into the shoulders. And then as you exhale next, release the upper body. Take your arms to about shoulder height, no higher. And think about reaching all of your fingers to either side of your room. Big stretch through the front of the chest. And then exhale, release that effort. Inhale, find that stretch. Reach the opposite corners of the room, perhaps a little bit more deeply here. And then as you exhale, draw your navel in, release the effort, soften your jaw. One last time, use the inhale to reach out through all of your fingers. Maybe low to mid-back releases away from the mat here. And then exhale, soften everything down to the mat. Let's take the hands one at a time to come onto the front of the hip joints. Your thumb can wrap behind if that feels better. Upper body is supported, so the backs of your arms connected with your mat. Just moving into some pelvic tilts here to warm up through the low back. So as you inhale, can you arch the low spine away from the mat? Allow the tailbone to track up towards your shoulders. As you exhale, can you think of drawing the navel in? Press the low spine towards your mat. Inhale, we find that cow-like spine. So the belly begins to lift, generous arch through the low to mid-back. And as you inhale, or exhale rather, you begin to lift up from the pelvic floor, press the low spine towards the mat. Feel that full spinal connection. Lots of support here. Just taking a few more rounds here. Maybe every time we express the tilt, we find a bit more lift or space through the front of the body. And then every time you draw that activity in through the core and guide your spine towards the mat, can you think of the outer edges of your body wrapping in towards your belly button? So full core engagement. One last round here, wherever you're at, finding your pelvic tilts. Forward and back. And as your low spine comes to connect with the ground next, let's open up the arms once again, but this time let's take the arms to 90 degrees. So our cactus arms. So wrist stacks above the elbows, both left and right. If it feels better to have the arms long, that's an option as well. Breathe generously into the front of your body. Arch the low spine away from the mat. And as you exhale, begin to allow your knees to spill over towards the right and allow them to settle. So coming into a supine twist with cactus arms, allowing for generous stretch down through the left side of your body. It's okay if that left hip wants to lift away a little bit from the mat. Just breathe into it, move at your own pace. Let's find a bit of activity on the next inhale. So begin to guide that top knee down towards the bottom of your mat until you feel a generous stretch to the front of the left leg. And then as you exhale, release that effort. Inhale, begin to guide the knee down. Engagement through the thigh, lift out of the hip. Exhale, soften down. One last time, taking your next inhale to guide the knee down. Engage perhaps a little bit through the outer left glute. And then exhale, soften down, and then take your next inhale to guide your knees through center. Exhaling, allowing the knees to release over to the left. Just taking a moment to check in with the upper body. Arms still in cactus arms, or if you need to release, you can take the arms to a T. As you inhale, begin to press that top knee towards the bottom of your mat. Right glute lifts away from the ground, and that's okay. Exhale, soften down, release the effort. Inhale, begin to press the knee down. Shoulders heavily and evenly rooted here. Exhaling, finding that release. Inhale, engagement through the outer right glute, knee guides down, right shoulder heavy. Exhale, release. Inhale, guide your knees through center, and if your arms aren't already there, let's take the arms once again to a T. And just readjust here, lengthen the tailbone, walk your heels a little bit closer towards your upper body, knees still hip distance apart. Let's inhale, begin to guide the arms overhead until the wrists are stacked above the shoulders, palms face one another, but we're staying shoulder distance apart here. So think of all of your fingertips here reaching towards the ceiling. As you inhale, find a bit more reach, so much the shoulder blades release away from the mat. As you exhale, allow the upper arm bones to fall heavy into the sockets, guide the shoulders to touch the mat. Inhale, find that lift. And then exhale, draw the shoulders back. It's much like what we do in our cat pose through the upper body. So inhaling, lifting the fingers. Keep the fingers spread wide. And then exhale, this time allow the shoulders to melt into the mat. Keep the arms right where they are. As we exhale next, begin to open up the arms wide to a T once again until the backs of your hands are connected with your mat. Feel simply the right hand wherever it's touching. As you inhale next, we're going to take the entire breath to guide the arm up towards the ceiling and then across the body as if palms are reaching towards one another. And then as you exhale, we're going to trace the arm or hand rather across the body and open up back to the T once again. Inhaling, sweeping the right arm up and over. And then exhaling, tracing along the collarbone space, opening the chest, reaching and expanding. One last time here, inhaling up, finding your way all the way over, and then exhaling, peel the hand across, allow the right hand to rest wherever it connects. Noticing the left hand here. Use your next inhale to begin to lift the arm up towards the ceiling, sweep it across the body, and your exhale to trace and open the chest once again. Inhaling, sweeping up, big stretch through the shoulder. Exhale, peeling the hand across the upper body, releasing over to the left. Inhaling, sweeping up, all the way over, and exhaling, opening up. When your left hand comes to the mat, allow it to rest. As you inhale, next begin to guide both left and right hand equally up and overhead. As best as you can, allow the arms to be connected to the floor. You can bend the elbows to help facilitate that. And as you exhale, begin to trace the hands back down to 90 degrees or T arms. Inhale, bring the arms overhead, big generous stretch through the front of the chest. Exhale, trace the hands, come back down, shoulder height. One last time. Inhaling, floating the arms overhead, backs of your hands heavy on the mat. And then exhaling, taking your hands now all the way down beside the body, as if your fingers are reaching towards the toes. And once you arrive there, you can turn your palms to face the mat, press the backs of your arms heavily into the ground, and then see about walking the heels a little bit closer towards your sitting bones. Generously press some weight into your heels, and equally press some weight into the tips of all 10 fingers. As you inhale, press through your hands and your feet, engage the glutes, and lift the hips up towards the ceiling until your hips are floating about an inch or so away from your mat. And then exhale, slowly begin to release back down to the ground. Your tailbone is the last thing to come to touch. Inhale, press your hands and feet, engage the glutes, lift the hips about 2 inches this time away from your mat. Pause at the top. And then exhale, one vertebrae at a time. Your spine comes down to connect until the low back is the last to come down. Inhaling, press your hands and feet, this time engaging through the inner thighs. Lift about 3 inches or so away. Hold at the top of the breath this time. Imagine you're holding a yoga block here in between your thighs. Notice how that activates or engages through the glutes. And then think about peeling your heels up towards your shoulder blades. A little bit of activity here. Your breath is still nice and full. Core is active to help support your low spine. Well, use your next exhale, one vertebrae at a time, to allow the spine to come down to the mat once again. And then once your spine is fully connected with your mat, you can invite the knees to come in towards your upper body. And you can allow them to be nice and wide here. So hands come across for support. Allow the heels to fall heavy, the thighs to open. It might feel nice there to just rock it out a little bit side to side. Keep the upper body nice and relaxed for a moment. A bit of love through the low back space and in through the glutes. And then as you inhale next, come through center. Slowly release one leg at a time down to the mat. Lengthen the left leg all the way down, toes draw up. And as you inhale, guide the right knee in towards your right shoulder. Hands come behind for support if you'd like. And it's up to you. If you want to allow this right heel to fall heavy, that's an option. If you want a little bit more activity, you can bring the ankle in line with the knee and draw the toes up. So be with what works for you this evening. The option of keeping the knees stacked above the hip, or beginning to use the upper body strength to guide the right knee even closer to the body. So you decide where you want to be. They're all variations of wind relieving pose. Noticing that breath just for a moment coming back. As your mind wanders, are you still present with the rise and fall of your own individual breath? Use your next exhale to softly place the right foot once again down to the mat. Invite the left foot to come beside. And then lengthen the right leg down to the bottom and draw the toes up. As you inhale, float that left knee towards the body, hands come behind. Ankle can fall towards your sitting bone with your foot relaxed. You can take the ankle in line with the knee. If you're there, draw the toes up. You can keep the knees stacked above your hip, or the invitation to guide, using upper body strength, the knee closer towards the left shoulder, left armpit area. Keep extending and pressing out through that right leg. Finding a bit more length through the low spine. Navel is drawing in even though the breath is full. Your jaw is nice and soft, no clenching through the back of your teeth. And then slowly releasing on your next exhale, take that left foot down to the mat. Inhaling the right foot to come beside. Hands can open wide to a T. Palms spin up. And then exhale, knees to the left. Inhale, center. Knees to the right. So just allowing for a bit of a flow there to release through the lower half of the body. Release through the low to mid spine. Your shoulders still anchored evenly left and right. We'll take a few more rotations here, moving with your own breath pattern. And whenever your knees release to the left next, just take a moment to pause. You can reach the right arm across, turn your gaze over to the left, take that top hand, press into your mat, and begin to guide yourself up into your easy seat. Whatever that needs to look like for you this evening, either onto a bolster, a block, a pillow, legs can be extended out in front. If you want to lift the hips a little bit. Either way, sitting bones are evenly anchoring into something. Low belly is drawing in. Low ribs are tucked. Shoulders melt down your spine. A little bit of extension and lift out of the crown of your heads. As you inhale next, begin to float the arms overhead. Spread the fingers with some activity here. Touch the palms at the top of the breath. And exhale, softly bend the elbows. Guide your hands down through heart center, down to the navel, and then inhale, sweep them up. Exhale, hands come through center, forehead, lips, heart, navel. Inhaling at the top of this next breath, we're going to interlace the fingers, softly bend the elbows, turn the palms up towards the ceiling. Think of guiding the pinky edge of your fingers towards the back of your mat, but being extra mindful of that core engagement. So try not to pop the rib cage forward, but to keep it active, protect the low spine. That might mean bending the elbows a little bit deeper than they already are, and that's okay. Holding here, noticing if your chin is being worn like a necklace down towards the collarbones. If so, can you level out the chin so it's level to the ground beneath you? We'll hold here one more big breath. Keep pressing out through the palms. As you exhale, we're going to take this into a bit of a forward fold. So pressing the palms forward, taking them no lower than shoulder height. And then once you're there, let's generously press the palms away. And just like we did when we were on our backs, can you think of the shoulders releasing away from your spine and wrapping forward towards your chest? Holding one more big breath here. Inhale, begin to guide the palms up towards the ceiling. And then taking a bit of a flow. As you exhale, we round forward, tuck the ribs, draw the navel in. As you inhale, we lengthen the spine, reach out of the crown of your head. One last time, pressing palms forward, extension out through the elbows, and then inhaling, sweeping up. And then once your hands reach the top of your breath, you can release, interlace, take the palms together, press through the triceps, come down through heart center. And then from there, let's take one hand at a time in front of the shins. Be mindful of any pressure on the knees, please. And then inhale, press the heart slightly forward. Draw the shoulders back. Exhale, find a seated cat. Draw the navel in, tuck your chin towards your collarbones. Inhale, press the belly forward, draw the shoulders back, extend out of the crown of your head. Then exhale, find that roundness through the spine. Allow everything to fall heavy and forward. Inhale, one last flow. Press the heart forward, guide your shoulders back, lift out of the crown of your head. And then as you exhale, release the grip of your hands, wiggle out the shoulders, right moves back, left moves back. Just take a few rounds there. And then we'll take that in the opposite direction. So drawing the shoulders forward, left, right, and right. Until we come back to find that nice tall spine, hands gently resting on the lap, chin level to the ground beneath you. As you inhale next, let's bring the arms overhead until they come about shoulder distance apart. Turn your palms to face one another. Exhale, drop the shoulder blades away from your earlobes. Inhale, reach out of the left hand only. And then exhale, take the right hands to come down to the mat. All of your fingers pressing into something. So you can soften the elbow or decide how far you need your hand away from your body to find support. Inhale, extend out of that left side body. And then exhale, press into the left hip. Begin to tip over to the right, keeping the heart nice and open. Chin is still lifted. Can you think about the left bicep coming towards your left ear? You can soften the elbow if that feels better, but focusing more so on keeping that top shoulder drawing back versus rounding forward. Nice openness through the chest. Chest, upper body, and shoulders this evening. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. I think we got it though, right? One more big breath here, pressing into that left hip, reaching out of your left fingertips. As you inhale, crunching through the side body, use that strength to guide you up. And then as you exhale, release the hands down through heart center. Just for a moment, taking your hands to rest wherever they need to. And just take awareness, left side body to right side body. And observing the side that we've worked in comparison to the side yet to work. Inhale, bring the arms overhead, take them shoulder distance apart, palms spin towards one another. Reaching out of the left or right fingers rather, find that extension through the side body. And then exhale, take the left palm down to your mat. Deciding the distance away from your body, wherever you can feel rooted through the hand. And then inhale, lifting again out of the right fingertips, press through the right sitting bone. Exhale, begin to tip over towards the left. Dropping the shoulders away from the earlobes. Pressing awareness into that right sitting bone, lifting out of the hip and extending out of your fingers. Your right shoulder is drawing back. Keep the heart nice and open. And noticing if you're holding your breath or how breath is moving here in your side stretch. Can you continue to have that full and even quality to your breath? As you inhale next, use that side body strength to guide both hands to spin towards one another. Allow the palms to come to touch. And then exhale, come down through heart center. Inhaling all the way back up. Bending the right hand, or right elbow rather. Hand comes towards the upper back. We're going to take the left arm across to reach towards the elbow. Taking hold of where we can there and then checking in to see that your chin is still level. And then using that left hand to gently open up the right side body by guiding the elbow towards the back of your mat or back of your body, I should say. As you do that, noticing if the lower rib cage is popping forward, engaging through that low belly. Think of the lower ribs guiding towards the hip bones. A nice long lower spine. Continuing to lift out of the crown of your head. And of course, we're breathing fully. We'll take one more breath here. Inhaling, find that extension through the side body. And then exhaling, releasing down to the mat. Your inhale brings your arms overhead. Your exhale bends that left elbow, hand comes towards the upper to mid back. And then the right hand sweeps across, guiding towards the elbow. Chin is level, lift out of the crown of your head. Core is active. Beginning to gently guide the left hand a little bit lower, bigger stretch through the left tricep, through the upper back. Probably noticing it a little bit too in the front of the body. Wherever it is that you're feeling it, can you direct breath to that space? Keep the jaw nice and soft. Beautiful. We'll use the next exhale to release however you need to. Wiggle out the shoulders, draw them back, draw them forward. And we'll take one more seated stretch here before we move into all fours. So as you inhale, let's bring the arms overhead. Big stretch through the side body. As you exhale, draw the hands down through heart center. Sweep them behind the body. Interlace your fingers. Draw the upper arm bones in towards one another. And as you exhale, spin the palms away from the body and guide them towards the back of your mat. If you're here and you'd like to go a little bit further, you can inhale, breathe into the front of the chest. And as you exhale, the nice long spine, begin to forward fold and then guide the palms up towards your ceiling. Okay, so you be either into the forward fold variation or simply playing with guiding the hands away from your body. Either variation, the upper arms are guiding in towards one another to keep the chest open. Shoulders are drawing away from your earlobes. If you've taken that fold variation, we'll use our next inhale to begin to lift out of the fold. And then from there, as we exhale all together, release the grip of the hands, wiggle out the shoulders, and you can make your way into your tabletop pose. Wrist under shoulders, knees under hips, and toes untucked with some pressure into the big toenail beds. Spread the fingers nice and wide here. And allow your belly to fall soft. Begin to move into your cow pose, generous arch through the low spine. And then as you exhale, tuck the tailbone, breathe into the upper back space, allow your chin to fall heavy for cat. Inhale, begin to draw the shoulders towards your tailbone tips up towards the sky for cow. As you exhale, tailbone tucks under, navel draws in, shoulders wrap forward, and head falls heavy for cat. Inhaling into your cow, and when you arrive there next, pause and hold for a few cycles of breath. Can you imagine your belly button guiding towards your mat here? Big generous arch in through the low spine. And then think about the lower part of your shoulder blades tracking towards your sitting bones. Your heart is pressing forward. Your jaw is relaxed, space between your brows is soft. As you exhale next, we'll use that to transition into our cat pose. So tucking the tailbone under, heavily breathing here into the upper back space. So think about pressing the mat away until the shoulders begin to release away from your spine. Your head falls heavy. Can you breathe even more so into the upper back space here? Big generous arch. As you inhale next, begin to come into your neutral spine or tabletop pose. So tailbone lengthens towards the back of your mat. Navel's drawing in. Ribcage is tucked, shoulders draw back. So this is that position when we're on our backs where the entire spine is supported on the mat. Lengthen out through the crown of your head. Big breath here, breathing into the upper back space, lots of activation through the body here. And as you exhale, one elbow at a time, let's take the elbows underneath our shoulder blades. Wrists are stacked in front of the elbows. Our hips stay stacked above our knees. Coming into puppy dog pose. So either choosing to stay here in puppy dog pose, or one hand at a time, extending the hands towards the top of the mat, lengthening out through the arms, and allowing the forehead to come to rest to the ground. So much like we do in our child's pose, except in puppy pose, we keep our hips stacked above our knees. Your core is active, still protecting the low back space. Breathing generously into the front of your body here. You can allow everything to soften down through the front of your body as you hold, if it becomes accessible. Big inhalation here. As you exhale, begin to make your way out of the pose. If the arms are lengthened, one elbow at a time, take the elbows underneath your shoulder. And then with the elbows underneath our shoulders, one leg at a time, let's lengthen to the back of the mat and gently lower ourselves onto our belly until we reach Sphinx pose. So legs are about hip distance apart, elbows under shoulders, wrist in front of elbows. As you inhale, can you begin to guide the backs of your arms towards your hip bones and press the heart towards the top of your mat. As you exhale, can you soften the glutes, maybe even wiggle them out a little bit there, and allow your lower body to relax. You can maybe close your eyes or gently soften your gaze to a point in front. And then think about the upper spine, the shoulder blades, and then see about pressing the shoulders towards the upper to mid spine. So draw them inwards. We'll take our Sphinx pose for one more breath here. And then as you exhale, lengthen one hand at a time out beside the body, coming on to the right ear. Arms are lengthened, shoulder height or lower. If it's too much to have them at shoulder height, you can play with walking the hands closer to the body. Let's notice the right leg on the mat. And as you inhale, we're going to bend the knee so the ankle comes to stack above the knee. Let's point the toes, coming into a scorpion leg on one side. From here, we're going to just notice the left arm, left front of the body. And just because I had us turn our head the wrong way, we're going to turn our head over towards the right. Okay, so your gaze is to the right. Noticing left side body, right leg is in scorpion. Inhale deeply through the front of your chest. And as you exhale, begin to tip the right foot over to the left until you feel a generous stretch in through that left arm, left chest, left shoulder. If it becomes a little too intense, you can walk the hand closer to the body. You can use your right hand to help support. So big generous stretch through the front of the left shoulder girdle into the front of the left chest. It should be uncomfortable, but it should not hurt. So I'll leave that up to you. I can't see any of you right now, so I can't offer any feedback. But what I can offer is that it often feels a little uncomfortable. So what you can do is begin to soften the elbow or walk your hand closer towards your hip. Okay. As you do this more in your yoga practice, you'll be able to come all the way over onto your side. Goals, right? So to release, we're going to do so on an inhale. Slowly begin to tip all the way over until you're once again on your belly. Lengthen the hands beside. Take your right ear to the mat. Bend both legs and And just allow the hips to rock side to side. And we'll prepare to take that over to the other side. So as you come through center, lengthen only the right leg down to the mat. Keep the left knee bent, point the toes. You can take that left arm closer to the left shoulder. And then as you exhale next, begin to tip the leg over towards the right. Deciding the placement of this right hand. Is it shoulder height? Do you need to wiggle the fingers down a little bit more, guiding the hand towards your body? If you need a little bit more, you can play with putting some pressure into that left hand. Wherever it is that you're at, again, just noticing how you can adjust, how you need to change this pose to find sensation through the right shoulder, through the right chest, all while breathing nice and fully. So noticing if you're holding your breath, coming back to that 3-part or that full yogic breath. Big inhale through your nose, full exhale through the nose. We'll take one more round of your breath. And then beginning to release on your next exhale, lengthening the left hand, rolling onto the left hip. Gaze comes neutral, both knees bent, rocking the hips or legs rather, side to side. And then from there, one hand at a time, we're going to take the wrist underneath our shoulders, stop the leg, neutral position, and then press your weight up, tuck your toes, and guide yourself back into child's pose. Slowly making your way there, lengthening the arms to the top of your mat and allowing your forehead to come to rest onto something. So as you hold your child's pose here, can you deeply become aware of the side body equally left and right? Can you think of lifting out of the hip sockets, drawing space through each individual rib until you find more length in the spine? The option of keeping your hands towards the top of the mat, right where they are. If you want more in through the chest, you can take the palms to touch one another and then begin to bend the elbows, guiding the fingers towards the ceiling or the back side of your body. So big generous stretch for the chest if you choose to find that option. Otherwise, just focusing on lengthening through the spine and releasing through your side body. Staying present with that full breath. Breathing into the front side of your body on your inhale. And breathing weight down to the mat as you exhale. If the hands are together and up towards the ceiling, let's begin to lengthen them to the top of your mat. And then with the hands towards the top of the mat. As you inhale next, press through all of your fingers, lift the gaze to look between your hands, and then feel the right hand on the mat. Begin to walk the left hand towards the center of your mat and spin your palm to face midline. From there, we're going to take that right hand underneath the left, beginning to guide the right shoulder towards the mat. Left arm can stay extended. You can bend the elbow if you'd like, or you can take the hand, cross the low spine. If so, palm faces away from your body and your hand reaches towards the right hip crease. In my body, this is the generous stretch through the inner right shoulder blade, right where it wants to meet the spine in that space. As you hold, you can think about spinning that left shoulder back if the hand is towards the low spine, opening through your chest. Wherever you're at, breathing into that point where you feel awareness in your body. If the hand is towards the low spine, begin to unwind. Take your left hand down to the mat, and then from there, invite the twist to unwind. Right hand comes towards the top of the mat, left hand follows. Gaze is lifted. Spinning the left hand towards the center of your mat, and then threading it underneath the right so your left shoulder comes down, left ear follows. Even though we're in a twist, we're still having that space between that left shoulder and left earlobe. So wiggling everything down and extending it through the crown of your head. The option of keeping that right arm long, softening the elbow for more support, or if you'd like, beginning to spin it around the body, palm faces away. Your hand comes to the outer left hip crease. And if you do choose that twisted option, just like we do in a seated twist, we're beginning to peel the heart through. Shoulders aim to stack on one another. Wonderful. One more nice full breath there. If you're in the twist, using the exhale to begin to unwind. Your hands will both lengthen towards the top of the mat. And then from there, all together, let's softly bend the elbows. Begin to walk our hands in towards our body. Take the inner thighs towards one another. And then spin to come onto our hips. And then we're going to guide ourselves all the way down onto our backs. You're slowly making your way there in your own time. Once you're on your back, we'll take the feet to touch the mat, knees stacked above hips, heels walking in towards the body. Reach the arms wide to opposite ends of your rooms. Lengthen out through all of your fingers. And then from there, as you inhale, generously press the belly up towards your ceiling. Think of guiding the tailbone towards your shoulders. And as you exhale, think of engaging through the low belly, guiding your belly button towards the floor. Inhale, finding that pelvic tilt, big generous stretch through the low to mid spine. And then exhale, drawing up through low belly, engagement through the midsection, pressing your navel down. One last time, taking that pelvic tilt up with the inhale and down with your exhale. And then finding somewhere in between, so some form of a neutral spine there. Let's inhale into the chest and exhale, take your knees over to the right and allow them to rest. Your gaze maybe falls over the left shoulder. At this point, trying to take this twist with as minimal effort as possible. So noticing if there's muscular effort, and seeing if you can use an exhalation to release that effort. Can you notice the points of your body here that begin to soften and relax as we hold? At this point, beginning to release any need to control our breath. Just allowing it to effortlessly here flow in and out. We'll take our next inhale to guide your knees, your gaze up through center, nice and slow. Your exhale to allow your knees to release over to the left and allow them to rest. Adjust the spacing between your feet as it suits. The option of taking your gaze over the left hand, left shoulder. Again, noticing if there's more effort here than there really needs to be. Trying to release that effort as you exhale. Allowing yourself here to completely surrender, completely release to your mat. Your breath easily coming and going here. Noticing the rise and fall of your belly and your chest. Allowing with as little effort as possible here. The next inhale to draw your knees up through center. And then your exhale to begin to make your way into Shavasana. So taking your hands a little bit closer to your body, lengthening the legs nice and wide to the bottom corners of your mat. If you prefer to have the knees bent in Shavasana, that's fine. Just allow them to come towards one another so there's support for your low back. Your palms spun up towards your ceiling to keep the chest nice and open. Your gaze soft to a point above you, or perhaps your eyes are completely closed. Can you release through the backs of your legs? Your shoulders, the backs of your arms, the back of your head. Allowing yourself here the next few minutes together to find fullness in our breath as we move into Shavasana. Taking a deep inhale here. And exhaling just for a moment without offering movement. Notice the outer edges of your body. Top of your nose. The edges of your hands. The tops of your feet. Notice the temperature of the air on your body. Soften your jaw. Allow your lips to release away from one another. And begin to wiggle out through your hands and through your feet. Your head gently rocking side to side. Trying movement in your body, however it comes. Preparing to move onto your favorite side with the knees drawn in towards your chest. And give yourself a few breaths there on your side. And in your own time, you can begin to guide yourself up into your easy seat. Allowing your gaze to stay nice and soft, still in that seated position, maybe eyes still closed. Taking that next inhale to float your arms slowly overhead. Allow your fingers to touch, your palms to touch. As you exhale, coming down all the way to heart center. Namaste, everyone. Thank you all. Wish you a good week.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Terry. We will see you next Monday.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Diane.